The focus of this MyEdBC session is on how to enter and access assessment data for School District 57. School District 57 has made the choice to keep student district assessment data within MyEd. This allows a student's record to be more complete and to provide more information to teachers, schools, and districts when planning for student success. Prior to beginning entering data into MyEd, it is advisable to organize your assessments alphabetically by last name as they are listed in MyEd. On the Curriculum Innovation Hub under the Assessment tab are some useful tools to help you. You will find the assessment map and tools such as this Excel document. Also on the Hub, you will find the MyEd Help Desk and links to documents such as how to enter School District 57 assessments. There are two ways to enter assessment data in MyEd. I will demonstrate both methods and you can choose the way that fits you the best. The first method allows you to enter data for your entire class on one screen.
When logged into your MyEd account, you will see a number of tabs at the top, starting with Pages, which is your home page. Click into the Assessment top tab, and you will see you are in the Assessment Entry side tab. To enter assessments, you first need to select the assessment you wish to enter. This is called the assessment definition. Click the magnifying glass beside the assessment definition box. A pop-up screen will appear with 85 different assessment records to enter. There are only 10 per page. School District 57 currently has 11 assessments to choose from. If you do not see the assessment you want to enter, you can scroll to the next page by clicking on the arrow near the top of the page. When you find the assessment that you want to enter, you will click on it and a radio button will appear blue beside it. For this example, I'm going to choose the Benchmark Assessment System, or the BAS, Fountas and Pinnell. I'm going to press OK, and I now can see that that assessment is in my assessment definition box. My next step is to choose the students. That is done beside the assessment definition. When I click the Select Students button, I have a number of choices come up, and I would like to select students in my classes. When I press OK, the students who are in my class will appear. Your screen will be blank right now with nothing in these boxes. You will also have your entire class listed. I only have 3 students. Any column that is marked with a red star, such as the date column, means it is a required entry. The program will not let you leave the screen unless there is something entered in that box. So we can see that the date is a required entry. I can click on the calendar beside the box, and calendars come up for me to choose the date from. I'm going to choose the date that I gave the assessment. So in this example, I'm going to say March 11th. I gave the assessment. I can continue clicking on the calendar and choosing the date for each of my students, or to save time, I can click on the first student, and then on my keyboard, I can press Ctrl-D, and it will copy that same date down for all of the students in my class. The box before that, the column before that, is grade level. Sometimes this auto-populates and sometimes it doesn't. So if there's nothing in this box, you can go ahead and fill that in by clicking on the arrow and selecting the grade that your student is in. So if most of my students are in grade 4, I can choose grade 4 for the first student, and then on my keyboard press Ctrl-D, and it will copy grade 4 all the way down. If I teach more than one grade, I can go back and just change for the few students who need to have a different grade level. So as I scroll over, I will see the aspects of the assessment that I need to enter. For the BAS, the only required aspect is the independent reading level, and I can tell that because it is marked with a red star. So I can click on the arrow and then choose the letter for the level that my student is at. And I can go down the column and continue to do that for each of my students. The other aspects for the BAS, you are welcome and encouraged to enter. The more data that is entered for every assessment, the more complete the record is for that student's learning. Of course, with the BAS, you would not need to enter all of these columns. You either have a student who's reading in the A to K range, or you have a student reading in the L to Z range. So I had gone in and entered a bunch of information. I'm just going to take that out. Okay. So as I'm going along, if Louisa is reading at I'm giving her a level 3 within text, I can continue clicking with my mouse and using the drop-down menu to select the number, or I can use on my keyboard the tab key to tab over to the next column, and then the numerical keys to enter in the level. I can type in let's see, what did we give? We're going to give O and maybe a 96. So that was all done on my keyboard. I find sometimes clicking with my mouse takes me too long, and that using the keyboard is helpful for me. So that's just a little time-saving trick. I can also do Control D if most of my students are scoring in a level 3 in the within text L to Z. I can click on the box that I wish to copy down from, and on my keyboard, press Control D, and it will copy that information all the way down. When I'm done entering all my assessment information for a student, you will notice that the school will auto-populate here as well. There is no save button in this screen, and when you are done, you can go on to the next assessment that you wish to enter by choosing a new assessment in the assessment definition box. So for this example, I'm going to scroll to the next screen and use the writing performance standards. And there's all of my students again. There's all of the aspects that I need to enter, and I would repeat that process. And when I'm done entering all my assessment information, I can press log off and my assessment information will save.
A second method of entering assessment data is through single student entry.
A second method of entering assessment data is through the Student Top tab. I can see the list of my students in my class will appear. I can select a student that I wish to enter an assessment for by clicking the box beside their name and going into the Assessment Side tab. When I do that, I can see in my crumb list that I am in Isabella's record and that Isabella currently has one assessment entered. This is the assessment that we just entered in the other screen. If I want to add another assessment to Isabella's record, I'm going to follow a similar process to what I did in the other assessment top tab. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass beside assessment definition, and I'm going to select the assessment that I wish to enter. This time I'm going to enter SNAP, and I'm going to press OK. You will notice that it does not appear here, and we need to do an extra step by going to Options, Add. And when I do that, it has added the SNAP number sense to Isabella's record. And I'm going to follow a similar process where I now click in the boxes and enter the information. So I see that the date is required, so I'm going to select the date from the calendar, the grade level, grade 4. I don't need to worry about subtest, course code, none of those are required. Assessment level, if I have a student who's taken an assessment that is at a different level than their current grade, I have the ability to enter that in here. So perhaps Isabella was working on a number sense concept at the grade 2 level. I have the ability to mark that in here. So Isabella's in grade 4, but took the grade 2 level assessment. Or Isabella could be in grade 4 and took the grade 7 or 6 level assessment. And then I would just continue with clicking on the arrow and entering in Isabella's achievement score. When I'm done, I need to press save. If I forget to press save and I try to click into some other place, it gives me a warning saying that changes may not be saved and gives me a chance to go back and save them. When I have saved them, a little pop-up with a green arrow comes up letting me know I've saved it. So now if I'm finished entering Isabella's SNAP and I want to go on to the next student in my class, I need to click back in my crumb list to student list. I see I'm back at the beginning stages again. I click on my next student. I'd click into the assessment side tab. I still have number sense up here, options, add, and it adds now the number sense or the SNAP number sense assessment to Louisa's record. I'm going to press save and it won't let me exit because I did not put a date in. Now I press save. I'm good.
When you have assessments entered into MyEd, it is useful for planning to be able to view them.
You can view assessment data and previous assessment data at any time in MyEd. This is an expanding piece of work for School District 57. Currently, you can view but not print individual assessments for a student by clicking on them from the Student top tab, selecting the student, and then going to the Assessment side tab. I can see that Isabella has 3 assessments, and as time goes on, there will be more and more assessments listed here. So you will be able to click in and see assessments from previous years. If I want to see the score, I click on the assessment and it shows me how Isabella scored on that particular assessment. I can go back, click on the next assessment, and see how that is. The other way to get to viewing assessment is through the Assessment top tab. I need to select which assessment I wish to look. This time I'm going to use the Writing Performance Standards. I can choose a date range, so if I'm not looking to see the current year, but perhaps all of the students in a previous year, I can change that date range to match that. I'm just going to leave it as the date for this school year. And here I can see my whole class, just like how I entered it. At the top, there is a button underneath options called Printer Friendly Version. And when I click that, I'm going to get just a text version of everything that I've entered here. The best way as a teacher for me is to copy and paste this information into an Excel document that I can then manipulate the data to make sense of it. And when I'm finished, again, I don't need to save this page. I can log off and I am done with my assessments.
If you need any support with MyEd, please reach out to Kim Moore or the School District 57 MyEdBC Help Desk found on the Hub.